Welcome to Mama Chow and Spicy Wonton. This is our YouTube channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe each episode. This is episode 14. And so this episode, we're going to continue with the story from Mama Chow's own experience during Great Leap Forward, which we talked about previously in episode 13 last week. And this week, there were so many episodes, related issues related to the Great Leap Forward. This week, we're talking about the famous sparrow in China. So, in English, they call this the Four Pests campaign. And during this time, basically, the Mao Chinese Communist government, they thought that sparrows were destroying the crops. And so then they went on a crusade to get every single citizen, including young children, to basically kill all the sparrows in the country. This is because of the Great Famine. They were trying to protect the crops. And so they thought by killing the sparrows, they would protect the crops. And then Mama Chow will now explain her experience with what she did and part of being her patriotic duty, in the name of Mao to to save the country from the famine by killing the sparrows. And then I'll give
加
some,
油，加
yeah.
油！
Yeah, that's Chinese for basically adding, literally translates into adding gas, but basically means, go, go, go. It's like encouragement sign. So, she'll explain that. I'll provide some historical context about why this became a failed solution, a failure. Um, but with that, I'll turn it over to Mama Chow.
Okay, there's another political propaganda, okay, for 大跃进, Great Leap Forward.
Mhm.
There's so many, one after another. This one's a little funny. And I remember during that movement, everybody has to go out because I was living in an individual house. So the roof is not that high. So young people can climb up to the roof to using whatever they can hold on from their house to use their pot or pans to make a noise on the roof. And I remember me and my grandma standing on the ground using the pot or pans, making noise. You have asked me, did you ask why you are doing that?
Yeah.
I never asked any question because whatever Mao said, we go for it. It's supreme leader. Whatever he said must be right. Well, I don't know if it was right or wrong. So we went out to make as much noise as we can. Everybody from their house doing same
Mhm.
thing. So apparently the sparrow will be so tired and fell down and die.
Died. Yeah, so this is what she did. Basically, pots and pans. That's what Mama Chow's explaining. And I'm just showing this picture. That's basically what you did, right, Mama Chow?
Yeah, yeah,
Pots and
yeah,
pans. And some of them also use crazy little arrows or, to try to kill this. This is ridiculous, failed project. But this is basically what you were doing, pots and pans.
yeah, pots and pans to make it falling. And I saw the sparrow falling down. I did not pick them up. By the end of the day, the government will send some people in charge to pick
Hmm.
up the dead ones and then report to the district, in charge. See how many you got from this area, that area.
Hmm.
And the good thing is, the next day I went to uh, center downtown Shanghai,
Yeah.
老大房, to
Hmm.
buy the cooked sparrow. It cost 10 cents per piece. It's a flavor I remember: barbecue, spicy, and then stew.
You
So
still remember the flavor?
it just
Yeah.
like a barbecue flavor. It tastes good. You say it's so small. Yeah, it's very small, but it tastes good. It's only 10 cents. So we purchased that. And I don't think my father did the same thing. On my mother's in the farm side, so she's not home.
Yeah.
My father in the office. No, of course, high-rise building they don't do that. It's
Hmm.
only on the ground, right? So I don't remember him doing that. So that is the catastrophe in the history for steroids per se.
The Sparrow catastrophe, the failed project.
Yeah, failed project. And I don't know the food, the safe from killing sparrow or the catching them
Well, and no,
compared to
yeah, so what year, sorry, we forgot to give the year when this happened. Was 1950, what, 8, 60,
58,
58?
58, yeah.
Okay, so according to history, by 1960, Mao and the Chinese Communist Party realized this was a failed project because um, millions of sparrows were killed during this effort. It was basically from the late 1950s, you said 1958, for a few years until 1960 when they realized it was a failure. The reason why they realized it was a failure is it because it created an imbalance in the environment, in nature, in ecology. So what happened was, without any sparrows, instead what happened was there were locusts. The locusts end up eating the grain. And what happened was that led to widespread deforestation and pesticides. So that made the famine problem even worse to the point where after 1960, China had to import 250,000 sparrows from Mother Russia, their good friend, motherland, USSR. And there's also funny stories online if you in history about the sparrows were trying to find an escape and refuge. So some of them went to a diplomatic embassy. So there's a case where a bunch of sparrows they went to the Polish embassy in Beijing. They were hoping to escape all these crazy Chinese people trying to kill them. But the problem was that the Chinese surrounded the Polish embassy doing this crazy pots and pans, all this other stuff. So the sparrows end up dying anyway. And then apparently the Poles had to clear, with shovels, all those poor sparrows that died in their embassy compound. So anyway, this is another real life story. Because, Mama Chow basically lived history during this time. You read about the four pests.
I was one of the killer. I was
You
one
were
of the participants. I was doing that. Yeah.
you were massacring the sparrows without asking why, without understanding why, what happened, why you were doing that. Um, and when you escaped China, what year was that? That was
62.
okay, 62. Okay. So when 1960, when they changed the policy and they realized they shouldn't kill sparrows anymore, you were still in China, I guess, because you didn't leave till
Mm.
62.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So this is a quick story about, the famous Great Famine. I know we've had several episodes now about the Great Famine, but it's just been, I mean, there were upwards of 50 million people that died during that time. And, through examples like this, the Chinese Communist government made the problem worse because, they thought they were going to, save the crops, but actually they ended up killing more crops because there wasn't a natural
Due to their ignorance.
ignorance, yeah. There wasn't a natural predator to kill the locusts. So when they killed the sparrows, then the locusts started eating the crops.
But
But
I think, by the way, it's normal. When leaders say we should do this, is a good way.
mhm.
Even currently in the world, there's certain country, their leader said, do this. And the next day, if he changes his mind, it's a good idea. If you say it's not a good idea, you will be fired. You're fired.
Yes, yes, we have famous leaders right now that are doing that are saying things like
Yeah.
um, they want to move manufacturing back right away, and it's not going to happen right away. So, we'll see what kind of impact that will happen
So
to.
Mao Zedong is not the only one.
No, but he's an extreme example. I mean,
Yeah,
when to the point where
he
you're
was.
killing 50 million of your own people, that's pretty extreme. Like the US had we also had The Grapes of Wrath, a famous novel about, a degree of depression and famine in the US, but it wasn't to that extent. Part of it was because of
But
the
it's different. For China, it was poor. It was poor country to start with. But U.S. is the richest country in the world.
No,
Even he made a
I'm talking
mistake.
about in the past. Mama Chow, I'm talking about the past,
Oh,
1920s, 1930s.
okay.
There was a period where a lot of people starved. They called the kind of the Dust Bowl era. It was right around the Depression. There was a lot of people that died from starvation, because of it was also related to crops, agriculture. There wasn't enough rain. I mean, there were a lot of problems in the Midwest, and that's why they call it a dust bowl, and a lot of people died. But the government did not do something as extreme as what in this case with the Chinese communist.
Okay. Talking about the crops. Do we have time? Oh,
Wait,
okay, come next time.
we have, a few minutes, yeah.
Okay. Talking about the crops, the great leaves. One of the great leaves is they claim they want to increase the crops production.
Yeah.
There's a way to increase the number. So maybe you can talk about how they can increase the number next time.
Yes. Yeah, we could talk about that next time. It's kind of like Animal Farm, how they try to create these numbers to increase crop production. So we'll talk about that another time. But we might need a break from all these famine stories. We have so many stories of starvation
Okay.
related to famine because so many failed policies. It's incredible. Um, okay, so this was a really quick episode. Living the history in the moment. Mama Chow here, many, many decades. Including during this crazy time. So we'll see you next week. And again, please don't forget to like and subscribe.
Yeah. See
Bye.
you all next week. Bye bye.